where visionaries, entrepreneurs, and artists dream, transform, and create. Rae TV. You are listening to Miracle Moment, and I am your host, Rae Irelan. This is where trailblazing, truth-telling, provocative, and successful entrepreneurs and creatives from around the globe share their number one miracle moment that changed everything, pointing them in the direction of igniting epic soul alignment in their life and business. These renegade souls will show you the behind-the-scenes, real-life magic on how to create a world-class lifestyle of true success. I am so glad you're tuning in. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Miracle Moment. Today I am here with Aria and Lindsey, who are the holders of Aetheria. Aetheria is this conscious community for coaches and leaders, specifically women, to come together and have that safety with one another and also be able to go into experiences of having really amazing coaches and certifications and support available to them. So I'll have them share more about this beautiful community that they've created and where it's come from. But I'm so excited to have you ladies on here. Aria and I had been talking for many months about getting together and creating this podcast for you all. And it wasn't lining up with either of our calendars. And we were both like, what's happening? But we both put equal effort in. And so knowing that, I know that even though sometimes things can be a little bit tricky, when you can make it work, it's going to be extra juicy. So that's what I'm looking forward to on today's call. So thank you, ladies, for being here with me.
Hey, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So I'm Aria and
I'm Lindsey.
And we're actually like physically together right now, which feels really, really magical. I feel like
so perfect.
Your description of like things feeling tricky but still showing up for them, that's kind of what the past couple of years have been like for us. We've had, on my end, I buried my stepdad and miscarriage and a really intense birth experience that I had to be on bed rest for 8 weeks, and on Lindsey's end, some like divorce and custody stuff and things like that. And we met each other in the middle of those experiences. It's a little over 3 years now. And we merged our business together last summer and then had a whole other host of experiences like that in business. And I've been in this business for 6 years. Lindsey's been in this business for, would you say 3 years?
Probably about 3 to 4 years, depending on when you count, when you're like, okay, officially I'm doing this, or am I like just partially doing this?
Yeah. Right.
And we just like had to really humble ourselves to like what was wanting to be created between us, rather, which is very different than what was wanting to be created separately. And we also got a really beautiful opportunity to go back to the foundations of business and like just pull out any bricks that had been laid years ago that were no longer serving. And there were so many moments where we met this like edge. Really, edge around intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that was coming up between us was also being mirrored in our marriages and with our kids and with motherhood and with
the outside world,
our deeper relationships. And every single time things felt sticky. So you asked when we were coming onto this podcast, like what the miracle moment was. And I've been chewing on that for months. Like, is there a miracle moment? Like, was there one moment that really changed everything? And I feel like for me, and Lindsey's answer might be different, but I feel like for me, the moments that changed everything, and it wasn't just one moment, it was a series of moments. And now I'm kind of like starting to get goosebumps and tear up even thinking about them. But there are all these moments where my feminine heart wanted to close and wanted to run away and wanted to blame and wanted to play the victim and wanted to say like, F you, Lindsey, you created this. My business is doing great until we merged. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
What Lindsey and I did each time was we just said the thing very honestly, like, hey, I want to blame you, or hey, you're acting like a bitch right now. And we just, despite the fact that we wanted to make it personal, we chose not to. and we just sat in it together. And sometimes it was like, hey, I got to sleep on this and come back. But ultimately, every single time we wanted to repeat the old pattern, we chose to lean in and change the pattern and surrender. And I feel like the miracle moments have happened in the surrender, and that has changed everything for us. And yeah.
I think especially by the time we have a business, we start creating these patterns of behavior. And as long as they continue to work, it's great. And then when you merge your business with someone else, suddenly
or your life with somebody else,
anything, suddenly these patterns are like, oh, wait, it doesn't necessarily work anymore. Or I can't just like walk away when I'm frustrated, or I can't just like go do it by myself, because a lot of this depended on us figuring it out. And I think when we met, if we knew what we had been signing up for, we probably would have had a lot of fucking trepidation, because this was, this has been a crazy experience. I think we both have been testing out, instead of blaming, instead of checking out, instead of walking away like we would have done prior. We were like, wait, let's try to do it differently. So really for us, what the basis of Aetheria is based on what the basis of our relationship is, which is repatterning, doing it a different way and seeing what happens. And there's a lot of trust and surrender in that. And it's rewarded us in ways that we had no idea. We thought we were just starting a business together that would be like clean and great for people and change things. And we didn't realize how much we'd be changing ourselves.
Oh, isn't that so true about business? And yeah, especially then going into any type of partnership, it kind of gets just amplified. And so I'm sure the challenging moments get amplified, but also those miracles and the beautiful good that can happen for you and for everyone that you're serving gets amplified. And just so our audience knows, I wanted to share, like, so you both do work with like NLP, hypnosis, like all of the practice, yoga, tantra. I just kind of, sorry, go ahead.
So I would say the foundation of our work is Psyche. And this is a modality. If you know who Bruce Lipton is, some people don't know Bruce Lipton, but they know the word epigenetics. And Bruce Lipton is one of the main reasons why we know that our genes have a switch that get flipped on and off from our environment and our beliefs, meaning that we're not predestined to have some shitty experience. We can proactively change it by changing our beliefs. And one of Bruce's besties, his name is Rob Williams, and he created a modality called Psyche. And I grew up, quote unquote, in the subconscious integration world. There are 4 modalities you can use to reprogram your subconscious. We're trained in 3 of them, and we're trainers of 2 of them. And Psyche is like, I grew up in this world, quote unquote, and it's very different than the NLP world and the hypnosis world. It's much cleaner. It doesn't have as much, unfortunately, like you put the manual of the mind into the wrong people's hands, and then suddenly it's being used in a really dark, like black magic kind of manipulation type way. So Lindsey and I have cleaned up NLP and recoded it, cleaned up hypnosis and recoded it. And then
and coaching.
And then we've gotten trained, because we certify in coaching as well. But then we've also gotten trained in Psyche, which is just the most wonderfully clean and easy way to reprogram your mind. And simple, magic. Easy, wonderful. And so, yeah, I guess you're going to clarify what it is that we do. We basically have a mystery school, and we support entrepreneurs right now. But I would imagine in the future, we'll be supporting moms and all kinds of other people, just anyone who wants to recode their mind. Lindsey does a lot of work with couples, and separate from our shared business. And I do a lot of work just with women around self-love and belonging and pleasure and intimacy. And it's worth noting that our merger happened for me after my first multi-6-figure year in sales and my first $50,000 month in sales. And I was on cloud 9, like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Like if you're making, yeah, I'm from Tennessee, so I'm from Georgia, but now live in Tennessee. So you got a little taste of that. But we merged together after I was like, oh, clearly I've quote unquote made it to the summit of business, and I'm fast tracked to 7 figures, right? Because that's like a lot of people in business when they start their business, or even when they're entrepreneurs, they're very motivated by money. Money's great, right? But what I had to see is that I was doing my business by myself. It was very easy for me to just lone wolf everything and kind of be in this very alpha feminine, hyper independent mentality of like, I was hiring people to get somewhere, not to really fully be in integrity and in intimacy in other areas of my life. And so for me, I have a lot of intimacy in my life. And I also had a lot of patterns that the people in my life were trying to show me that I was not seeing until I merged with Lindsey. And that same experience happened for her. And so what Aetheria is, and now what our shared business, our separate businesses are, so we have businesses separately and then together, is the space where we really have realized that it's easy to become quote unquote enlightened if you're meditating in a cave by yourself and you've renunciated all worldly things. But if you're out in the world having a human experience, relationships are the mirror. And as women, we have learned generationally and ancestrally to guard ourselves from vulnerability and intimate relationships with women and with men to protect ourselves. But it's ultimately cock blocking us from money and from intimacy and from success and all the other things. And so I had all of that success, and there was this feeling that something wasn't quite right, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And what wasn't right was all these little frequencies and habits that I had kind of swept in the corners that I thought weren't relevant to my business, but were the thing when I started cleaning those up, where my whole business and my whole life started to change. And I had to be really honest with myself that my business was serving me first and then serving my clients. And Lindsey and I are actually coming out of a period of not taking clients for over 6 months to really sit with, like, what does it mean to actually serve, not from ego, not from alpha feminism, not from look at me, but from like, this is for you, and this is co-created with you, and this is ultimately all about you, and anything I get is a bonus, but not the main thing.
Right. Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was also just going to say, like you mentioned, we could go into a cave and like get enlightened. We could renunciate everything and then just become enlightened, but we don't want that. Like, I think a lot of us
we want to have sex and drink bourbon.
Yes.
We came
here to have all of it. We came here to do that. And I think a lot of the transition for Aria and I too has been, I can be a really centered mom who's focused on the lives of my children, my partner, my family. I can take care of my body. I can take care of my home. I can make this place and I can have a business that serves. And I don't know how much of the world out there actually allows us to have all those things in a balanced way. People joke about like, well, you have to be a mom like you don't have a job, and have a job like you aren't a mom. Well, we're saying, no, like, what if you had a belief that you could have a career that you love and that supports you and supports your lifestyle, and be able to be that fully immersed mother and not lose yourself or whatever you want, and be able to help people. We aren't ever going to be serving from lack. We're not going to be serving anyone if we're ever in lack. And so what we've really gone for is overflow in our relationships and ourselves first. And it's been translating into everything else. And everyone around us feels it and is excited by it. And we can feel the people in the outskirts of our minds and in our world. Like, we can feel that they're ready, to jump in and hear what we have to talk about too. So it feels really good.
Yeah. And this is totally that industry shift that I think we were kind of talking about, which is if we're calling it a service, don't you think it should be serving? And it's gotten so twisted and so backwards. I just had goosebumps all over my body as you were sharing kind of your timeline of things, because I had a very similar experience, Aria, with my business. It was hitting those same numbers and that same space, and then being like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, I'm ready to fast track. Let's do my $1 million business, baby. Like, it's working. And it's like, and I had to take a pause. And I've also been in a space of actually pausing and not working with clients as I re-looked at like the foundation that I had built, and really like had to ask myself, like, is this the foundation that I want to build a multi-million-dollar business off of? Because I know it will be that, not because of the money that's coming in, but because of the service that I know I have, that I'm here to share and provide, because it will be even more impactful than hitting the millions. And so it really just had me stop everything, because it all of a sudden I realized and remembered, because I think we all get into wanting to be of service from a really pure place. I do believe that. And, you know, I've talked to so many women that are at the beginning of their journeys, middle of their journeys, and then, you know, these incredible elders and women that are really charging the way of doing this service-based business. And I think we all go into it with a purity of heart, but we have to keep it. We have to remember it, and we have to keep those practices in place, and then reorganize what business actually looks like, what finances actually look like, and what communication looks like. And I think one of the big pieces is that intimacy key that you both were talking about. I'm curious, like, when it comes to like those core feminine wounds that kind of get hit and played upon in business, and especially in the healing space, like, what do you both see as what can be next? Like, what could be created besides that? What kind of community, what kind of support would be the thing that could actually serve to be of service, to take us all to that next level of consciousness and community and leadership?
So, oh man, I'm just like laughing on the inside, because I'm thinking of all my business courses I took in college and how they don't teach you this stuff. No, you're going to really need to work on your intimacy.
No one.
Right.
That's the thing. I call this the unintegrated maiden. And the first piece is the awareness, because this hit me and Lindsey between the eyes. We were in Charleston, which is where I lived for 10 years. I met my husband, And I've never had my heart broken by a man, but I have had my heart broken by almost every mentor I've ever hired, except for a few. And one-to-one, like privately. And then I've been vastly disappointed by every other mentor I've ever hired. And I'm obviously like, okay, well, there's something here for me, obviously, because I'm the common denominator. And at the same time, I've had so many women coming to me over the past couple of months as I started sharing these experiences from an integrated place, who have said they've had the same experience. And one mentor in particular that I hired, it's the most money I've ever spent on a mentor. She was really good at marketing and not very good at delivering. And I kept trying to share feedback, and my feedback was not received. And then it got really out of hand, where like I could tell her life was in chaos, but she still kept supporting other people. And not chaos in a good way, like chaos in a like, hey, maybe you need to integrate. And then trigger warning, there was somebody that in her container on food stamps for 8 months. And I'm like, that's not cool to be taking somebody's money while they're on food stamps. Like, you, as a mentor, you have to be willing to say, like, I don't know if this is a good fit for you. And then somebody committed suicide after one of her retreats, which obviously is not hers. And also it's relevant, right? And I kept trying to share feedback with this person, and what by the end of the conversation was really like confused and hazy, and like was taking full responsibility for all of it, because I'm the type of person that takes responsibility for my part of it. And she really broke the veil for me of the industry. And I sent her a message, and I was like, I really love you, and I think you have really pure intentions, and you got to integrate your maiden. Like, you have to go back and update that subconscious programming that's looping for you. Because when the maiden isn't integrated, we can come into business with the purest intentions. And me and Lindsey's belief is that everyone at the highest level has pure intentions, because everything we're doing is to meet a need, period.
Yeah.
And a lot of us how to meet our needs in a way that doesn't actually serve us or the people that we're in relationship with. And yet, if you're in a really dysfunctional childhood and you learn to meet your needs through manipulation or through hiding or through whatever, because you're on food stamps or something like that, then it's like you needed to meet that need that way then. And now we have to be mindful when we're doing this healing work that we've gone back in and updated those programs. And with something like Psyche, change can happen in a couple of minutes. But a lot of healers, quote unquote, and even the idea of a healer, like you're not healing somebody, you're empowering somebody to heal themselves, right?
You're healing yourself and you're telling them how you made your medicine.
You're holding the space. But one of our mentors calls it get better tools versus feel better tools. And most people are using feel better tools, and they're not actually updating that subconscious programming on the deepest level. And I have been really, really saddened. I had a really beautiful childhood, and I have a lot of love and safety and belonging in my life. And I have not found that in this industry that claims it's for the empowering women, but has continually disempowered me. And I've been like, why do I have all these relationships, like, as I say, out in the wild that feel so good and so rich, but in this industry don't? And that was a lesson in discernment for me. It was also for me to see the industry for what it was. And if you know better, you do better, right? That's what Maya Angelou said. So there's no blaming here, or even you can probably feel that my energy is really clean about this, but it's just more this sadness. Like our mama hearts are like feeling very protective over the women who are investing in these containers, who don't have the love, safety, and belonging yet, who are seeing these women say they are somebody, and then they get inside of the container and they're not that person.
Yeah, they're not held.
So integrity is very important. And I think that you can be doing your own work while holding women, and there's a way to be doing your own work while also being in integrity. And that is through intimacy and through co-creation. So when we're working with a client and we're in a blind spot, we refer them. If we are working through our own stuff and we need to reschedule a call because our energy isn't clean, we reschedule it. We like pre-frame that we're human and we need space to be human, and we don't put ourselves on a pedestal or try to pretend like we know it all. We are truly like in partnership with the people we serve. And I think that's really, really important.
I love that piece around the partnership. And instead of looking at it as coach and client, how can we look at, hey, we're actually in this together? Because as a coach, you do want to see your clients win. You want to see them grow. You want to see them have that success. And that really takes a new level of integrity in your leadership, and really being able to put away your own stuff that comes up, because stuff comes up as a client, and I think anytime you step into a new container, it's a beautiful way to say, okay, I'm paying you to like help me show all the stuff that I don't usually see. And it goes the same way for the coach on the other side, to like, okay, you're paying me and I'm going to hold this with honor, that you're choosing me to be a part of your journey, and I'm ready for my stuff to come up in this too. And can we both just look at it honestly and see how we can move through it together as a partner?
Totally. And I want to say one more thing, and I think Lindsey will probably run with this, but that got really serious for a second. The other part of it is to get the fuck out of the trenches, because healing work doesn't have to be hard. It gets to be really easy if you're using the right modalities. And so there's this playfulness that we're bringing out of the graveyard of like, God, I got to like go through this initiation again, do my hard work, versus like, no, get in the playground and realize that it's okay. And like when you're held in a sisterhood, when you're in a relationship like what I have with Lindsey, you don't have to make it so serious, because you're loved always. And then it just gets to be fun, because you get to say, wow, I'm having this experience. Like, yeah, what are we going to do?
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's part of the recoding, is like, this gets to be easy. This gets to be fun.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Is there anything coming up for you?
No, that was pretty good.
Is there anything that you have looking forward to that you want to share with the audience that you want them to know about?
Yeah, we are offering we're offering reprogramming now with Psych-K. We also are we are looking forward to seeing our website completed and fully launched for this program that has been it's been currently this beautiful work in progress with amazing women who have been so creative with us on it and patient. And we don't like to call it beta testing, but I mean, if you called it something, we've spent a lot of time in beta with this, which feels really in integrity. We've allowed it to morph into exactly what it needs to be. So Aetheria website will be launching. We have
so it's Aetheria, AETHERIA.co, and should be live in the next week or so. And we kept pausing it because it was like, fuck, this is like wanting to tell us something. And I probably would have taken a lot less time if I hadn't been so stubborn. I'm really the stubborn one out of the two of us. It's really difficult, or it can be really difficult if your mindset is that it has to be difficult to be in business and be getting a download that you have to change everything. And especially if you're making a lot of money, like why would you change something that's serving your family like that? But ultimately, it's going to have to change if you're getting the download that it needs to change. It's just, do you want it to change with the whisper, or do you want it to change with the really hard, truck in the face? What is it? The little board in the face lesson. So Aetheria is basically, and it's going to continue to evolve because we tell all of our clients that we're listening to them, and the container changes. We are picking up things from them constantly, energetically and intuitively. And then we're saying, hey, we're getting a sense that what you need is this. Is that true? And then they say yes. And we are like, tell me where we're wrong. And then we change the program in real time for them always. So Aetheria is the space for entrepreneurs who are ready for it to be easy and are ready to be held and not leave a container without their return on investment, disappointed by the people they've hired. And that's been our experience so many times. And I think I took it a little bit more personally than Lindsey did. But I was just like, man, like, I love you. Like, when people come into my inner circle, they're here with me for decades. Like, why don't you want to like be with me? Like, let's do this, And I think the maiden, when she is integrated, you asked about those core wounds. The core wounds are like, I can do it all myself. I don't need anyone. I don't want to tell the truth, because if I tell the truth, what if all of me isn't loved? Safe to be seen, like not feeling safe to be seen, not feeling safe to be beautiful, not feeling beautiful, not feeling like infinite possibility is available to you. When the maiden is integrated, she's just naturally in her innocence and in her playfulness. And there's obviously a greater level of maturity to open up to after the maiden's integrated, because we need the maturity of the mother and the lover and all these other, the crone and all these other feminine archetypes. But the foundation of those are the maiden. And so many of us have shut ourselves down to play and to pleasure. And that's the part of it that I think gets to be different for the industry is we get to be in integrity, but we also get to have fun while we do it. And it doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to feel hard, and it doesn't have to be like this, like, oh, we're in the trenches. Like,
yes.
So Aetheria is the space for play and for pleasure. Right now we're serving mostly entrepreneurs or people who just want to change in their career in general. Not everyone who's working with us wants to be an entrepreneur. Some are going into real estate investments and things like that. Just like that sisterhood that you've always wanted, and the space to recode your mind with ease without the fucking hustle and the grueling initiation.
Yeah, and the opportunity to learn the tools and techniques for yourself if you so decide. So all of that is included in that space. We kind of joke it's your choose your own adventure. type of situation.
If you want NLP, if you want hypnosis, if you want embodiment coaching, if you want emotional freedom techniques and time techniques, we teach all of those in our program, and you can choose to certify or not.
I love it.
The group healing space, and then certify if you want it. But either way, you can play with the tools.
Amazing. Well, we'll definitely have those links available once this podcast comes live. And just thank you both so much for being here and sharing a bit of your journey. You're both so vulnerable in your shares. And thank you for really leading the way for, I think, what can be created for this industry and for women, you know, creating that safe space for healing and empowerment. So beautiful to connect with you.
For your work,
I want to reflect.
Thank you for having us here.
I want to reflect to you that your energy feels vastly different than most of the people we've collided with over the last couple of years. And for anyone who's in Rae's space, we just want to say that her energy is clean. We can feel it. It's wonderful. And we're so grateful to have been able to co-create with you today.
Oh, thank you. It means so much. Well, have a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you to everyone that tuned in to listening to this episode, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks for checking out this video. Subscribe and ring the bell if you haven't yet, so you can stay up to date for new episodes coming out soon. And remember to witness and acknowledge the miracles and magic in every moment. This is Rae Irelan, and I'll see you soon.